25 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You know what I would love, Robin, when I do the news? I would love one morning to have the news item that says cancer has been cured. I would love to see that in the news. Dr. Joshua Brody is on the phone. He's an assistant professor of medicine specializing in hematology and medicine oncology and the director of the Lymphoma Immunotherapy Program at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. I hope I said all of that right. And Janet Jordan is also on the phone. My goodness, she's got some credentials. She's an actress, a singer. She's been in The King and I. She's sung at Carnegie Hall. She's sung in theater and opera productions around the world. And she also happens to be a follicular lymphoma patient. And I don't know anything about follicular lymphoma. I do have notes that tell me that it's an incurable blood cancer, but other than that, I don't really know anything. And that's why Dr. Brody and Janet Jordan are on the phone with us. September is Blood Cancer Awareness Month. Good morning, Dr. Brody and Janet Jordan. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Where are you? Are you calling from the same place?
New York. We're sitting next to each other.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for calling in from New York. Janet, how are you doing?
I'm actually doing well. Thank you.
How long ago were you diagnosed?
I was originally diagnosed about 10 years ago, and I've been treated with chemotherapy and different types of chemotherapy in the early years of my disease. But more recently, I am on a new treatment, which has kept me in remission for the past 3 years. So I'm quite thrilled about that.
Oh, wow. Well, good for you. That's really good news for you and everybody who loves you. Dr. Brody, is follicular lymphoma similar to leukemia? It's the only. I'm a radio guy. I have no idea any of this stuff, but the cancer of the blood, I always thought was called leukemia.
Mm-hmm. Larry, you're right. This morning we are radio people also, so...
Yes, you are.
So I feel it, and lymphoma and leukemia are very closely related diseases. Leukemia is a cancer of the blood. Lymphoma is a cancer of the blood and lymph nodes, so they are all blood cells. Leukemia happens to spend more of its time in the blood, and lymphoma more of its time in the lymph nodes. And, we don't think about lymph nodes that much. We sometimes just call them swollen glands, those lumps that we get under our neck when we have a sore throat or something. But we have lymph nodes all over our body, and lymphoma is a cancer of the cells from those lymph nodes. They could be lymph nodes in our neck, underarms, the tops of our legs, any of the many places that we have lymph nodes.
And is that how it manifested itself in you, Janet? Did you have any swelling early on in the before it was diagnosed?
Yes, I did. I went for a routine appointment with my endocrinologist for a thyroid condition that I've had for a long time, and she found a lump in my neck that I had not seen visually or felt myself.
Oh, man.
And did this cause you to stop singing?
Well, let's say it was not something I was doing on a daily basis. I also have, quote unquote, a real job, a regular job, which I continued to work at that time. But later on, when the chemotherapy got quite aggressive, I had to not work for a time.
Oh my gosh!
So are you comfortable with the disease right now, or do you still? I mean, aside from the swelling, were you nauseous? Were there other symptoms?
No, not in that early time. It was really the lump was the only thing that I had. I mean, later on, once I was undergoing chemotherapy, I had the normal side effects of chemotherapy. I did experience that.
And Dr. Brody, how do you prepare your patients emotionally for something like this? This is absolutely devastating.
Yeah, that's a good question and a very tricky issue. Emotionally, people have very different responses to this. I would say by far, the best preparation people can have emotionally is to have a good support system of people that love them, of their family, friends, colleagues that are well informed. That makes a huge difference to feel like you are going through a scary thing by yourself or you're going through a scary thing with people that care about you. Ideally, the best case situation is if you're going through this with a doctor that you feel, cares about you. I think that would be a great comfort as well.
Every once in a while, you'll hear somebody say that exercise helped them get through cancer. I don't know if it means it helped cure it or just helped them get through the process of curing it through the traditional means like chemotherapy, et cetera. Is there any truth to that?
I would say there's a lot of truth to that, and I'm someone that likes to make fun of every different type of green tea or ginkgo biloba
Right.
that has been promised to cure cancer. But exercise, absolutely. I don't know if we're still allowed to point at Lance Armstrong as a role model for how to do well in life, but certainly to do well with cancer, to be in good physical shape, or at least to be very active, makes a huge difference, both in terms of how well you can tolerate the treatments, because some of the treatments can be aggressive. We're lucky to have also some very gentle treatments as well that are very effective now. But some of them can be aggressive. To be in good physical shape makes a big difference. And there's probably also a direct effect on the cancer that we've learned from some studies in the lab as well.
Is this hereditary?
This type of lymphoma, lymphoma is an extremely common disease. There's more than, with this type of lymphoma, follicular lymphoma, which is the most prevalent type of lymphoma now in America, more than 100,000 Americans walking around with follicular lymphoma. So it's the most common lymphoma. It's more common than all these types of leukemias that we've heard about. So it's extremely common. And almost all of those 100,000 people in America with follicular lymphoma did not have a relative with lymphoma. So for the vast majority of people, there is no hereditary component to it.
Can you help us understand what the word follicular actually means? What does that reference?
I can. Wow, that's the most thoughtful question I've heard in a while. It's not a competition, but
I get the prize.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but if it were a competition, then you would get the prize. Yeah. Follicles are actually what we see under the microscope when we take a biopsy of a lump from a person that has follicular lymphoma and look it under the microscope. You see little follicles, which in English looks like little grape clusters. I don't want to upset the grape industry if they're listening to the radio, but it looks like little clusters, and which we call follicles. So they have a real what we call architecture under the microscope, as opposed to the other most incident type of lymphoma is called diffuse large cell lymphoma, and the word diffuse means there's no architecture. So diffuse, just nothing but cells. Follicular, you see little follicles, little clusters of cells.
Janet, what little we've heard from you so far, it sounds like you're a real trooper. But are you putting on a face for us, or I mean, you mentioned something before about your real job. That's the way you put it. I'm guessing theater is almost like being an athlete. I mean, theater requires a lot of physical stamina.
That's true.
Does it? I mean, have there been challenges because of the disease?
Well, my life in theater and in music was, I can say, the first half of my adult life. And as I got a bit older, I segued into, as I said before, my real job, which is working for a large financial institution right now. But I still enjoy music and being in New York, being privy to just all the wonderful music and theater that goes on. But yes, when I was working, it was very important to be in good physical condition, and it's still maybe even more important for me now to try and be in good physical condition.
You still walk to work every day, I think.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, excellent. If we have piqued anybody's attention because maybe they know somebody with this, or they themselves have been diagnosed with this, can you leave us with information? I don't know whether it would be a website or a book or something.
Sure. There are a lot of sources of excellent information on the Internet. Unfortunately, there's also some lower quality information. So to steer you in a good direction, some of our favorites are the websites for the Lymphoma Research Foundation, which is lymphoma.org, and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, which is lls.org.
Thank you both for being on with us today, Dr. Brody and Janet Jordan. By the way, 65 degrees here in Ocala, Florida this morning, with the first sign that maybe we're almost up to autumn. What's it like in New York today?
It was in the 50s when I left my apartment this morning. It was like 59 degrees.
Do you know, I was in my 50s last year.
Well, I'm sure you were as refreshing as this morning.
Thank you to both of you. That was a fun interview, considering it's about an incurable disease. Thank you, Janet. Keep it up. I think your attitude has a lot to do with your how well you're doing. Thank you again to both of you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back.
another 4-time winner in NASCAR this season. I'm Joe Moore. This is the Monday Morning Race Refresher, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Open a Coke and enjoy the race.
Coca-Cola Racing Family Road Trip.
NASCAR Confessionals. Driver's log, day 3. Tony Stewart here. We've been on the road for 72 hours, and I think someone's stealing sips from my Coca-Cola. Day 7. It happened again. I opened a Coke, and I turned around. It was almost half gone. Day 14. Decided to use my phone as a hidden camera. Greg Biffle owes me 10.5 bottles of Coke.
Coca-Cola, open happiness, official soft drink of NASCAR.
Joe Gibbs Racing was represented well Saturday night in Richmond, Virginia in the final race of the NASCAR regular season. At one point, all 4 team cars were in the top 4 spots. For most of the night, one of the JGR cars was in the top spot, and that's where he finished. Matt Kenseth dominated and won the Federated Auto Parts 400.
We've had such good cars here the last couple months. Feel good for these guys. They've been giving us bullets. Everybody at JGR, thanks to that group. All 4 of our cars have been really stout. So this is a nice way to roll in the chase.
Kyle Busch was second Saturday night. Joey Logano was third. Eric Almirola fourth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. fifth. Here's the way the chase field lines up. Jimmy, Kyle, and Matt. Then Joey Logano and Kevin Harvick, the top 5. 6th seed is Dale Earnhardt Jr. 7th is Kurt Busch. 8th, Carl Edwards. 9th, Brad Keselowski. 10th, Martin Truex. Denny Hamlin goes in 11th. Jamie McMurray 12th. 13th seed is Jeff Gordon. 14th is Ryan Newman. 15th, Paul Menard. And 16th is Clint Boyer. Race 1 of the chase, starting the Challenger round, is at Chicagoland Speedway on Sunday. That's the Monday Morning Race Refresher. I'm Joe Moore on the Motor Racing Network.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget, from wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles.